Welcome to part 3 on 1880s on the history wall. We stopped at Congo becoming a possession of King Leopold. The book to read on that is King Leopold's Ghost. It's a terrible story. Of all of the colonial stories, it might be the very worst. It also created a giant, perhaps the world's first humanitarian movement. People like Mark Twain, tons of famous people got involved and said this needed to stop. They needed to stop cutting off African people's hands for rubber. And it was eventually effective, and it showed the power of a lot of people rising up for human rights. In the Judaic world, the Pittsburgh platform started a new theology for American Judaism, and it's less about the return of the Messiah and more about fixing the broken world, a concept known as tikkun olam, living and working with the world. Something else that changed the world is Burton's Arabian Nights, that forever flavored literature. The volume 2 of Das Kapital by Marx is published posthumously by his intellectual lover, Engels. In Mormonism, speaking of lovers, there's the polygamy split between people who believe polygamy was sanctioned and not. Tolstoy writes My Religion, which is a fascinating book on how he saw the world. Van Gogh releases The Potato Eaters, which he got a lot of people didn't like The Potato Eaters because it was too normal. It was just showing regular people, but it was part of what made him amazing. Fluorine is isolated, and in India, the first National Congress, which is a big deal. That's something that's going to change the world. In 1887, Lenin's brother in Russia is hung for his attempt on Tsar Alexander III. That's part of Lenin's radicalization. And then Emil Fischer synthesizes organic matter for the first time. Glucose, fructose, and other polypeptides. So some of the first organic matter ever created by humans was finally made in 1880. Again, these scientific breakthroughs are amazing. Santiago Ramon y Cajal proposes the neuron doctrine. I love this guy. I write about him a lot in my work because he was the one who said neurons are distinct little cells that talk to each other. The brain isn't one undifferentiated mass. And it turned out he was right. He was both an artist and a scientist. Amazing guy. Radio waves were discovered. The MacArthur-Forrester process for cyanide extraction of gold and silver. So this revolutionized how gold and silver are pulled out of the ground. This causes South Africa to flood the world with these metals. And something very cool, Esperanto is invented in this year. Goodwin invented celluloid film. And in literature news, Donnelly alleges that Shakespeare was actually written by Bacon and sets off that whole rigmarole, which I don't believe at all because Borges said it wasn't true. And if Borges says it, I believe it. Stay tuned for part 4.